What if the very parts of yourself that you're most afraid to face are the key to your freedom? There's a part of you that you've been taught to hide. Maybe it's the anger that bubbles up when you feel powerless, or the envy you feel when someone else shines. Maybe it's the fear, the shame, the raw vulnerability you push deep down. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the dark side of the psyche that holds all the traits, emotions, and impulses we've rejected because they don't fit the image we want to show the world. But here's the truth. The more we repress our shadow, the more it controls us from behind the scenes. It leaks through our reactions, sabotages our relationships, and quietly shapes our lives. And worst of all, it blocks us from becoming who we truly are. This video is an invitation, not to run from your shadow, but to face it. Because Jung believed that true wholeness doesn't come from light alone, but from making the darkness conscious. You're about to discover 5 transformative shadow principles based on Jung's teachings. Each one will take you deeper into yourself, helping you understand why you react the way you do, what you've been avoiding, and how to reclaim the parts of you that were never truly wrong, just hidden. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand your shadow, you'll begin the process of becoming who you're afraid to be. Ready? Imagine a dragon guarding a chest of gold. Fierce, unyielding, terrifying. Most of us, when we see that dragon, turn back. But what if that gold was a forgotten part of you? This is how Carl Jung viewed the shadow, not as a monster to be destroyed, but as a gatekeeper to your buried potential. The shadow is 90% pure gold. Carl Jung. What parts of you did you abandon just to belong? Maybe you were told not to be too loud, too emotional, too sensitive, too bold. And so you silenced yourself, polished your persona, and buried the parts that didn't fit. But those parts didn't disappear, they became the shadow. This first principle is a radical reframe. Your shadow isn't just made of your flaws, it also contains your gifts. Your passion, your assertiveness, your creativity, even your leadership. But because they were once too much, you tucked them away. And now, you feel disconnected, like something's missing. Because it is. The path to wholeness begins by asking, what parts of myself have I locked away to be loved? What strengths have I mistaken for shame? The dragon you fear might actually be your protector. Not because it wants to hurt you, but because it knows you're not ready to face the power you left behind. The shadow guards your treasure, and the key to unlocking it? Courage, curiosity, and the willingness to look within. Have you ever met someone who triggered you instantly? Maybe they were too arrogant, too emotional, too needy. You couldn't explain it, but something about them got under your skin. According to Jung, those reactions aren't random. They're projections, a key function of the shadow. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung. Here's how it works. The qualities we've disowned in ourselves, we tend to project onto others. So when someone displays confidence and it feels like arrogance, is it them or the part of you that was once told to stay small? Projection is the shadow's way of showing itself indirectly. It's like looking into a funhouse mirror, warped, distorted, but still your reflection. And this is where the second principle becomes powerful. Every judgment you make is a breadcrumb trail back to a part of yourself. Let that land. The people you can't stand? They might be holding up a mirror to a quality you've repressed, misunderstood, or never learned how to hold with compassion. Try this. Think of someone who triggers you deeply. Now ask, what is it about them that I can't stand, and where might that live in me, even a little? This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming your wholeness. Because when you own your projections, you stop being ruled by them. And suddenly, even the people you judge the most become your greatest teachers. You know those moments when your emotions hijack everything? That flash of rage you didn't see coming. That wave of jealousy that leaves you hollow. That anxiety that won't let you sleep? These aren't random storms. They're messages. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious speaks through emotion. And when an emotion feels overwhelming, it's often your shadow trying to get your attention. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Think of emotion like a compass. When you feel emotionally flooded, you're not broken. You're being called inward. There's something that you haven't fully faced. Maybe your anger is protecting a boundary you never learned to honor. Maybe your envy is pointing toward a dream you gave up on. Maybe your shame is wrapping itself around an old story that no longer belongs to you. This third principle invites you to stop running from these emotions and start listening. Here's a question to sit with. What emotion do I try hardest to avoid, and what might it be trying to teach me? This is where healing begins, not by suppressing your feelings, but by exploring them. You can journal through them, breathe with them, even dialogue with them, as if they were messengers from your soul. Your emotions aren't here to punish you. They're your most intimate guides. And sometimes, the doorway to the shadow is the feeling you've spent a lifetime avoiding. We live in a world obsessed with being positive. Smile more. Be grateful. Stay high-vibe. But here's the paradox. The more you try to be only light, the darker your shadow becomes. Every time you deny your pain, suppress your anger, or mask your insecurities with a fake smile, your shadow gets louder behind the curtain. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. This is the fourth principle. Repression feeds the shadow. Acceptance dissolves its power. When you repress, you split. You become two, the version you show the world and the version you hide. And this inner divide drains your energy, clouds your relationships, and disconnects you from your truth. But when you accept the parts you once rejected, something incredible happens. You begin to integrate, and in that integration, you find peace. Acceptance doesn't mean acting on every impulse or justifying harmful behavior. It means saying, "This part of me exists. I see you, and you belong in my story." Try this. Next time you feel a negative emotion rise up, pause. Breathe. And instead of pushing it away, say, "Welcome. What are you here to reveal?" You don't heal by running from your shadow. You heal by sitting beside it and letting it speak. Because when the shadow feels seen, it softens. And what once felt terrifying becomes human. Most people spend their lives trying to be good, to be accepted, liked, approved. But Jung wasn't interested in goodness, he was interested in wholeness. I'd rather be whole than good. Carl Jung. The journey of individuation, the process of becoming your true self, requires more than just cultivating your strengths. It means turning toward the darkness within you and choosing to see it clearly. This is the fifth and final principle. Facing your shadow isn't optional, it's essential. Because the parts you're most afraid to look at are often the missing pieces of your full identity. Individuation is a kind of psychological alchemy. You take the raw material of your unconscious, the lead of your fears, shame, and shadow, and, through awareness, you transmute it into gold, wisdom, creativity, freedom. But here's the truth. It's not a comfortable path. It's a path of fire. You'll have to unlearn who you thought you were, to become who you really are. So ask yourself now, what am I afraid to become, and why? What version of me have I been running from even though it holds my power? Your shadow is not the enemy. It is your forgotten self. And when you stop resisting it, you begin to walk a path that few dare to take, the path of depth, authenticity, and inner liberation. This is what it means to become who you're afraid to be. Not fearless, not perfect, but whole. You've just walked through 5 of Carl Jung's most transformative shadow principles. Each one a doorway, not out into the world, but inward, toward your deepest self. Let's pause and breathe it in. You've learned that the shadow doesn't just hold your darkness, it holds your power. That the traits you judge in others might be mirrors of your own hidden truth. That your strongest emotions aren't enemies, they're messengers. That repression fuels inner chaos, while acceptance brings peace. And that only by facing your shadow can you step into the wholeness of who you truly are. This isn't just philosophy. It's a roadmap, one that invites you to stop editing yourself for approval and start reclaiming the parts of you that were never broken, just buried. You are not what has happened to you. You are what you choose to become. Carl Jung. So here's your invitation. Don't run from what's uncomfortable. Sit with it. Listen to it. Learn from it. Because the version of you that you're afraid to be, that's the version that's free. Now I'd love to hear from you. What part of this journey resonated the most? What emotion or judgment are you ready to face with compassion? Share it in the comments. Not just for yourself, but for others who might need the courage to do the same. And if this video sparked something inside you, consider sharing it with someone who's ready to meet their shadow too. Your journey doesn't end here, but maybe this is where it truly begins.